Those allegations are flat out false. The Attorney General pleads not guilty.
Suspended Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton claiming he did absolutely nothing wrong. The proclamation of innocence came on the floor of the Texas Senate during day one of an historic impeachment trial. It was the only time Texans got to lay eyes on their top cop, who declined to face his accusers, opting instead to leave the upper chamber and his wife as a jury of 30 senators considers the evidence and decides his fate. At the core of the case against Paxton, the testimony of his top lieutenants, 7 of whom allege he corruptly weaponized the immense power of the agency to serve businessman Nate Paul.
I concluded that Mr. Paxton was engaged in conduct that was immoral, unethical, and I had a good faith belief that it was illegal.
I was deeply concerned that the name and authority and power of our office had been, in my view, hijacked to serve the interests of an individual against the interest of the broader public.
With each and every one of their motions to dismiss rejected by the jury on opening day, Paxton's spirited defense team has pushed back, characterizing the whistleblowers as mutineers engaged in a political coup, falsely justified by half-baked assumptions and incomplete facts. Panel, week 1 of this trial is in the books. What sticks out? Gotta start with our top legal analyst, Chris Trutico.
So several things stick out in my view. First was on the first day when Tony Buzbee entered this not guilty plea. I don't agree with the way he even started that. You just say not guilty. You don't make speeches about that. But the opening statements I thought were not well given. Nobody laid out a case. The House manager's opening statement, they have an hour to give 15 minutes, and they didn't tell us anything. They didn't tell us what was going on. They didn't lay out what happened, what they say Ken Paxton did. And so they left us with this, everybody saying, why are we here? That was a horrible first day for the House managers. The witness that I think so far has given us the best case of the whole trial so far was the
Ranger, Maxwell.
Maxwell. That really sealed the whole case for me.
Bill, you and I have been talking some during this. You thought the lawyering left something to be desired as well.
You know, for these really, really good lawyers, big reputations, I was frankly like Chris, I was like, seriously? It's like nobody was prepared. They couldn't get their exhibits organized. All the sniping back and forth between the lawyers. By the way, Chris State, you would never get away with this stuff in a regular courtroom. A judge would never put up with the conduct that you've been seeing there. Now, I think overall, I give Patrick pretty high marks for the way he's been conducting the trial. But if I were him, I would rein in those lawyers because it's disrespectful and it's below the dignity of the proceeding. But I agree with Chris. Maxwell was really sort of a nail in the coffin. Right. His testimony was unbelievable.
All right, Bob, I know you keep a close eye on this stuff and have been watching.
Well, and I've been very fortunate that my learned lawyer wife, Lana Shadwick, has been watching this intently and briefing me on it as we go, and I'm very happy with that. So one thing I learned in 30 years of commercial sales is you try to under-promise and over-deliver. And in this case, Tony Buzbee's done exactly the opposite of that. He's promised the sky that they're going to just disprove everything. And the reality is they're not bringing any of that in the cross-examination. Maxwell's testimony was amazing, and just the way Ken Paxton treated Maxwell, a 50-year law enforcement professional, 30-some-odd years as a Texas Ranger, testified in thousands of cases, was heavily involved in the Resendez Ramirez case here in Houston, the serial rail car killer, an icon of Texas law enforcement. And the way he treated this man and just summarily dismissed him because he wouldn't go and use the weight of the Attorney General's office to investigate the Department of Public Safety and the FBI and go after these law enforcement who Vassar testified that Paxton had no respect for, including the state's DPS. I mean, how telling is that as to what's going on there?
All right, Marcus Davis, this whole trial is probably an empirical example of what you see as what's wrong with government.
It is, and I'm going to get to that. But I got to go to the lawyer point. I thought you guys missed a great piece of lawyering, right? Tony Busby hit it out the park. He sent out a notice saying that he thought the media put up a bad photo of him. He did. Did y'all not see that?
Yeah.
His biggest contention was that, hey, this news station has the right complexion of me. This news station has me sunburned. And that's where his focus was, right? He's off the rails. And that's why this trial is off the rails. You ask what sticks out most? This theme that we hear, whether it's in the state, whether it's local, whether it's federal. All of the accusations of, this is not me, this is some trumped up charges, a political attack on me. Everybody's blaming the other party and other political agendas for what they are being accused of. How about you say, no, you did what you did, and that's why you're in this position. My mom used to say, baby, I don't care how much deodorant you put on. If 3 people tell you you musty, you musty. And this is musty, right? You can't blame this on anyone else. Same goes in the feds. The Trumps, the Bidens, they want to blame the other party. Speaking of wanting them to use, Paxton wanted them to use his law dog to go and attack his department. That's the same move that Trump did when he was president and wanted to use the Attorney General to have the election overturned. It stinks from the highest down to the lowest.